Hi, folks. It's Radio FM 88 Australia. My name is Jeffrey Shaw. It's 31st of March here in Queensland, Australia, where we broadcast from our studios. Tonight, as always, we have our guest from overseas. This one's going to be different, from Portugal. And my co-host, as you know, is based in the UK and in sunny Poole, if I want to say that. She's got a beautiful colour wearing tonight. She's obviously up in the Northern Hemisphere. That's why we've placed her at the very top. And it's a good morning to Andrena.
Morning, Jeffrey. Good morning, all our listeners that are listening to Dreaming the New Dream. And wherever you are in the world, and if you're listening, I'm going to put my teeth in a minute, listening to the replay. So today we have a special guest. We have Olivier, who I met 2013, and we've crossed paths over the years, and so I'm privileged to have him on the show tonight. So it's going to be a very magical sounding event. So he's going to play the didgeridoo, he's going to share his story. So welcome, Oliver, and thank you for coming on Dreaming the New Dream.
Hi, Andrena. It's a joy to be here. Thanks so much for having me.
Right, so you were born in Wales, so you're Welsh, boyo.
That's it. Yeah, lovely. Yeah, I was born in the valleys.
In the valleys.
In the valleys.
Sorry.
I have a French name, Olivier, which was always really troublesome growing up. Like in Wales, there wasn't many French kids around, so everyone called me Oggy. Oggy.
Yeah.
So it was funny actually, like the story of my name. You know, I was Oggy till I got to university, really, and then nobody knew me there, so they all called me by my name, Olivier. But my family still calls me Oggy, and it's a treasure for me, you know, to hear that, like my uncle in Australia. So I came out to Oz in 1998 because of this uncle of mine, my father's brother. He'd been living in Australia since the 60s and always dreamed of going out. And you talk about, dreaming a new dream. That was such a powerful thing in my life, you know, like this dream of coming out to Oz. And yeah, managed to do it and stayed for a long time. And as a result of that, got to know you.
So what part of Oz did you land?
First off, now here's some magic. Talk about dreaming it. So when I was coming to Oz, I got a visa. I was working in London as a teacher because I graduated as a teacher for teaching French and geography and outdoor ed. And like London was where the work was, so I just went to London. On my 26th birthday, I got my visa to go to Oz, which was great because that was like the cut-off age.
Mm.
So I remember walking out of my flat in London, looking up, and there was a Qantas 747 going over my head. I was like, I'm going on one of those. Here I go. So I went into school. It was the last day of term, and resigned my position. You know, like I work another term and I'm off. And I told this to a guy I was working with, an Aussie bloke, and he said, well, if you want, I can pick you up from Sydney Airport, you can stay with me and I'll find you a job.
Ah.
Like, all right, thanks.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah, I reckon. So he lived near the beach in Austinmere near Wollongong. And so that was my first 6 months, was that beautiful part of the world, amazing escarpment. It was a dream. Like when I landed in Sydney Airport, first of all, I'd had 3 days in Thailand, in Bangkok. That blew my mind. Like I'd never experienced the tropics before, and that moment where the airport door opens and that heat and humidity hits you. Like, oh, that's what they talk about, right? So I'd had, mad 3 days. And then, flying in, from Bangkok, the flight path takes you across Darwin. And ladies and gentlemen, that's Darwin. We're just flying over Australia. I was like, oh, great, we'll be here soon. Like 4 more hours till we get to Sydney. Oh, my God.
7 hours later, yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Jeez. So, landed in Sydney Airport, and my friend Ross picked me up, as he said, and drove me down the coast, and we went over the escarpment and down into Austinmere, and I was just blown away. It was just, this is an Australia I'd never seen or imagined. And I thought I was going to be pretty clued into Australia. Like, I'd read so much about it. My uncle had told me so much. I thought, oh, it's going to be easy. No way, man. Everything was different. Everything just like it. Like when your compass is set to the north, and then all of a sudden it switches, and you're like, that's facing south. Like, whoa. Even the next day, Ross took me to the beach. He was like, come and meet the Pacific Ocean. So my first swim in the Pacific, I stepped in. There was these big waves. It's like, I've seen waves before. Stepped in, and the first one just like, had me on my back, feet in the air. I was like, yeah, that's the surf, mate. Yeah, it's like, go easy. Poof, like everything was different. The heat, the humidity, all of it. Like, see the clouds. And it was November, so I come from pretty cool Europe, pretty warm Oz. It's a cloudy day, put a jacket on, a jumper, walk outside, melting with sweat. Man, yeah, everything was so different. So yeah, 6 months of that, and then I headed up to Nimbin where my uncle lives. He's been there since the late 70s. He went up. He was living in Melbourne at the time, and the Forrest protests were on. And he and my auntie at the time, they were just like, that's where we have to be. Let's go save the forest. So they'd come up, and they were living just outside the Channel for a long time. And then he moved into Nimbin. And that's where I caught up with him. And it was just like, what a community, just like people from all over the world. And there's a place just outside of Nimbin called Black Sheep Farm. And that's what I felt. It was like all the black sheep from all over the world. We all come to Nimbin. We all feel right at home. It's a very healing place. Which doesn't mean it's an easy place. There's like healing. Often you have to see your stuff. So it brings stuff up.
Don't you just?
yeah. That's it. And I got married very quickly. I was a stepfather to a couple of beautiful beings. Girl and a boy. And I was working, and it was like, wow, like talk about a Saturn return. Gone from being this like backpacker to like, boom, right, sort your life out, mate. Here you go. But the whole time, just felt this grace. Just like with that, like the difficulties. Like the harshness of the differences and the distance. I just felt this grace. Just like feeling really supported and cared for. It was huge that my uncle was there. He's known since I was tiny. So I could just go and be with him. I didn't have to say anything or, like that's such a gift. Like the loving presence, the loving presence. Yeah.
Magic. Yeah. I know when I first landed in Brisbane, it was about 7:30 in the morning, and the sky was so blue and the heat, and I just felt like I landed on a different planet. I just felt like an alien. Like it was just, it was surreal. It really was. But yeah, and like you say, the heat, and you've got no idea. People say Australia's hot, but it's like the doors open and it's like, and it's like whoa. But yeah, magical. Little fly.
One of my last trips back, I had to empty my garage. I'd sold the house, and we empty the garage, get all the stuff out. My shoes melted on the tarmac of the driveway. It was like 43 degrees. I'm trying to move all this stuff up. Me and this friend were just pouring buckets of water over our heads every 5 minutes. Mind blowing. Yeah. Lovely message, Lars. Thanks so much. Good to have you with us. You drank it. Wonderful. Thanks for keeping the messages up, Jeff. It's really good to connect with people in Australia again. Like the connection never goes.
No, that's right.
It doesn't matter where we are in the planet. Once we've connected in, it's always
that
there.
heart opening, isn't it? Because I miss Australia, heaps. And I'm, some days is fine, and then I dream about Australia, and I'm on the land, and whether I'll ever go back again, I don't know at this moment in time. I mean, wasn't expecting to be back here, but you know how it is.
That's it.
Yeah. So I don't know where my next mission is. That's what I say.
Yeah, that's it. Hey, that's it. I think when we give ourselves in service, that's what happens, isn't it? It's just like the universe says. I feel blessed. 18 months ago, the universe said Portugal.
I know, what a place to be. I love it there. I think I said to you that my mother-in-law used to go, and we used to say, if it's good enough for mother-in-law, it's good enough for us. and, and it was beautiful, absolutely. Because I've done the Italy and Benidorm and Mallorca and all of them, and I thought, oh well, we'd try Portugal, but absolutely loved it. So, and I'd like to go. I could definitely do with some sunshine and some warm ocean water. So, might be over for a visit sometime, especially when you've got your retreats going.
That's it.
Okay.
Yeah. The world's opening up again. We think that, bring people here to this energy. Now, the ancient name for Portugal is Lusitania, which means the country of light. And a friend of mine who's really connected to the dolphins in Wales was talking about the light from the Atlantic, like Atlantis, that Atlantic light. It comes into Portugal, and then from here it's like a lens to the rest of Europe. And I feel that there's such an amazing quality to the land here, especially on the West Coast. 40 minutes we can get to the West Coast. If you've seen Xavier Rudd's latest video where there's a woman dancing as she goes down the road on a longboard, like a long skateboard. That was filmed on the West Coast of Portugal. We were watching, we're like, we know that place. There's it's magical, it draws people in from all over the world. We've got the biggest waves in the world here. We were just watching it yesterday, just north of Lisbon, a place called Nazaré. 10-story building high,
Yeah.
I
like the water, but not that high. I'm not the greatest.
That's it, I reckon. Yeah. And there's a strong Aussie connection here as well. A lot of the first navigators, James Cook and all those people, they had Portuguese navigators with them. And so those Portuguese navigators, they brought the plants back. So the tallest Norfolk pines outside of Australia are in Portugal, because they're the first ones that were brought back. The bottlebrush trees, we've got those here. So there's lots of reminders of Australia here, which is really, really nice. Really, really
So
nice.
when was the last time you were in Oz?
In 2018, Megan and I were in Thailand for 4 months. And Megan was doing a women's retreat. So I thought, all right, this is my chance. I'm coming down to Oz. So I just jumped on a flight and had a month or so, just shy of a month, in the Northern Rivers in Brisbane. And, taught some Reiki, did some sound healing journeys. And we just reconnected with the land and with the people who'd supported me so much as I first started that sound healing journey in 2013. Yeah.
So let's go back to how the Didge come into play, and off you go. So
thanks, Andrena. Yeah, all my life I was dreaming of Australia, and the didgeridoo was a key part of that. It just always felt right. And anytime I heard Didge music, it was just like, I'm in. Here I go. And after about 3 years living in Linden, there was a day where I've been doing ear acupuncture. I've learned how to do it, and I was offering it as part of a community clinic in Linden. And there was a day where the person with the keys didn't show up. So I was like, all right, what am I supposed to do today? And my friend Koa was there, and he had some bamboo didges, but they're like this one, really nice and light, easy to play. I was like, well, what you got there, Koa? I was like, bamboo didges, mate. All right, okay. Give us a go. So, I had a couple of I got sound out of it straight away. I was like, this is good. What about the circular breathing? Isn't it really hard? It takes you ages. He said, well, if you decide it's hard, it will take you ages. So you just got to decide it's easy, and it will come pretty quick. So I was like, great, all right, I'll decide it's easy. So I locked myself in my car for 3 evenings in a row, trying to make all these sounds. And then it just clicked, just those, like riding a bike, you just get up on 2 wheels and you're off. And that was it. I got the sound, I got the circular breathing. I was like, that's it. And I was off then. I just knew I had to keep playing. So, took it traveling. There we are in Thailand.
So lovely picture.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, so that's Copenhagen, amazing
Mm.
one. And that's the thing is like once I'd started playing didgeridoo, like it kind of shaped my life in many ways, you know. So like I was saying, yeah, in 2004 I was working at the Athens Olympics, having worked at Sydney Olympics and also the Commonwealth Games in Manchester, you know, too. And people were just like, "What's this instrument? You know, come in and play." So there was one moment I was in a church, Greek Orthodox church below the Acropolis, and this woman who was looking after it was saying, come in, and she was just like kept giving me cups of tea and feeding me lakumi, which is like Turkish delight, but the great Greek version. Just kept feeding me that all afternoon, just like keep playing, like she loved it, you know, like I was playing, like they have these amazing golden pictures of the icons of the saints, you know, just like having these guys looking at me, Acropolis just out the window, and just like, man,
Magic. Mm.
yeah, it was wild. I just knew I had to keep playing. So that's a nice picture of us in Croatia. So, you know, we've got an invitation thanks to a lady called Shirley Roden. So Shirley Roden was, she was a musician, had a career in sort of pop music through the 70s, and then got into sound healing. And I read her book, like early on in my sound healing journey. Read her book, and she was like, she's Welsh, she does sound healing, and she has a connection with Slovenia. Now, Slovenia is an amazing country, and my brother's now ex-wife was Slovene. Or like I'd been to Slovenia, I loved it there. It was incredible. It's the only country in the world with the word love in it, Slovenia.
Oh,
And
really? Mm.
yeah, it's magic. And it's right in the Southern Alps, sort of south of Italy and Austria and north of Croatia. So it's the northern part of the old Yugoslavia. And yeah, incredible country. And Shirley was writing about how she goes and does this work there on the land. And so I wrote to her just out of the blue, so like, there's too much in common here. I just thought I've just got to write to you and say thanks so much for your book. You know, it was really inspiring. And we developed this friendship. And a couple of years later, she said, "Look, I'm supposed to go and do a week's worth of seminars on an island in Croatia. I can't make it. Do you think you and Megan would like to go?"
Oh, wow.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So she booked us in. We got 2 weeks living on this amazing island in this beautiful community with people, very international, but a lot of Croats and Slovenes, Bosnians and Germans that come, and they do like a week's worth of seminars. And it's like that opportunity to go really deep with people, you know, like playing with every week, 3 hours a day for a week.
Wow.
People, such amazing revelations, so much was changing for them and coming through for them. Yeah, I love that when we can really go deep. And actually, we've changed our model. We used to just do like single sessions for people. Now we're much more doing 3 and 6 month journeys because we see the difference that it makes. People who go from grief that just they can't get over, and it's just blocking their experience of life. One lady, she had a toddler and she couldn't hold him without these tears of grief coming for her mother who had passed. And then, as soon as we started working with her, all that grief was clear, and she was just given this connection with her son that she hadn't had.
Beautiful.
Life just completely shifted, and that's the power, isn't it, of that loving presence and healing sound and intuitive channel guidance, like it all comes in. This is what we're here. Hey, Andrena, this is what we're here to
God, and it's just holding space for people, isn't it? You don't have to do anything these days. You just have to be there and let it do what it needs to do.
That's it. Yeah. It's amazing.
And it must be time for you to give us a sound on your didge.
Let's do that. Alrighty. I've got a couple of different didges. I'll start off with this bamboo one. So it's got a beautiful serpent design on it, this one. And this is one I take into schools. So when I was in the UK, an Australian friend of mine she got me into schools, especially primary schools around Plymouth and Devon and Cornwall. And I go in and tell Dreamtime stories that I'd had the great fortune to have received while I was living in those. The kids love it, man. They just, especially
Yeah.
I play with the 4 or 5-year-olds. You know, they're just so open, and I get them jumping around like wallabies and
Yeah.
kookaburras and stuff. It was great fun. So yeah, let's play a bit of Didge.
Thank you.
Yeah, bring it in.
Oh, magic. I can feel that going all through me. The power of sound, it doesn't stop. It just goes on and on and on.
That's it. That's it. You know, and the Didge is pretty magic in the way, you know, it's just a hollow tube, you know. And
I'll
it's
tell you something funny. My sister and I, we did a workshop. I can't remember where we were now. This is, oh God, donkeys years ago. And he brought long white plastic pipes for us all to practice in. Oh my God. We were trying to do it, and we were like horses. We were going, we just had so much fun. It was but it was fun, but yeah. So
brilliant.
anyway, I decided I'll stick with the gong.
Yeah, nice one. Nice one. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so you know, the didgeridoo, it's a hollow tube. So it's, you know, it's our spirit, it's our breath that makes it alive. And early on in when I started doing sambas in Brisbane, one of the people who came, she was talking about this transmission that she got while we were playing, of it being the void, like the energy of the void. You know, when you think about the cosmos, all was created from the void. And that's what I feel with the Didge, like it creates this space for us to dream our new dream, you know, to create our new life. And I think that's part of the transformative quality of it, is having that held vibration, you know, and especially when you bring through the healing energy into that vibration. Yeah, it's amazing the things that people can experience. Yeah.
Right.
Hey,
So,
brother.
go on. No, excuse me. Did you want to speak?
I can shut you up, you know. I can turn you
Oh.
off. Hey,
Ditto.
Oh, I just lost that photo. There's an amazing photo of you guys in the cave.
Ah, yeah. So while you're finding it, so I know Andrena, we know each other really well. So it's I've got to remember, for those who haven't met me before, like a bit of the story. So may I give a bit of the timeline about how the sound healing?
Yeah. No, please do.
Thanks. Yeah. So I got this connection to the Didge. Living in Australia, I was teaching high school, and I used to play my Didge in the classroom to bring the kids in at the start of the lessons. Like, it was amazing the way it transformed my teaching, because kids would come in, would do a bit of mindfulness meditation. I'd play the Didge, and they were ready to learn. Like, it was incredible how it opened them up. Left teaching, and I got into, like, I need to do this healing. Like, I really need to follow this impulse to be doing healing work, and I thought it was going to be hands-on, one-on-one. And it was for a while. And then I was back in the UK to look after my dad and my mum. Dad was having a heart bypass operation in 2012. And so I was back in the UK for 6 months. And I was like, oh, I need to do some healing stuff while I'm here. So I just Googled like Reiki in Plymouth. And this connection came up, and I rang up this really lovely couple, Catherine and Brian. And they were really open to me coming and doing an exchange, playing a bit of didgeridoo. Brian plays the gongs. It was really, really nice connection. And after I played the didge for them, they were like, do you know what? We'd love you to come and play at our next gong bar. And once a month in the Uniting Church on Knott Street in Plymouth, they were doing gong bars. And they said, bring your didge. So a couple of weeks later, I find myself in a room full of about 30 people playing didge, and I can see how everyone's receiving this healing energy. And there was just this like light bulb goes on. It's just like, oh my word, like everyone's getting healing here. Like I don't have to just be one-on-one. It's like bring the energy through for everyone in the room, and they all receive. That's a great shot. That's
she's well out there, eh?
yeah. She was well into it. That was awesome. That's just north of Brisbane, then. Yeah. So that was it. I just knew I had to do it. When I got back to Oz, I went to this lady called Carly who ran a yoga studio in Wollowin, and said, "Look, can I do a sound bath at your yoga studio?" And she was like, "What's a sound bath?" So I told her, and she said, "Do you know what? I've got a crystal bowl you can play as well." I was like, awesome, thanks. So that was the start of it. And straight away, things just flowed. Like people started coming, and more and more opportunities to share this healing sound were opening up. I was doing retreats with people, and mind, body, spirit shows, and like straight away it was awesome. And I don't know if you remember that Infinite Connection in Brisbane. There was a psychic there, Debbie Muse, and she was, there's like 200 people in the room. She's like, okay, I'm going to bring through a guide, and I'm going to tell you who it is. And if it's, everybody stand up. And as I describe this guide, if you know it's not connected to you, sit down. So she started talking about this gentleman who was European. And I started getting this feeling like, that's my granddad, my French granddad, Pepper, who I never met in person, but he's come in quite a lot actually in spirit in the last few years.
I got the gooses as you're saying that, funny enough. Cool.
So she's talking about him.
Yeah, but I was there that night too.
Yeah.
Cosmo took over.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah. So he's a European gentleman, and he's in a uniform. He's in the Navy there, and he's got a cellar full of wine. He was like, it's my uncle. So my mother's brother, Tonton Jackie, he was a big man, big solid man. He'd sailed all around the world, except for Australia, in the French, first of all the French Navy, and then the merchantman. But he never got to Australia. He passed away in '96, and when we put his ashes in the sea, in the village where my mum's family grew up in Brittany, we put his ashes in the sea, and I was like, I'll see you in Australia. I'll take you there in my heart. And then here I am in this infinite connection with this psychic going, and this gentleman here with this cellar full of wine. I was like, it's Tonton Jackie. So I'm the only one left standing. So like, yes, it's coming for you. So tell me, have you got a business that you've just recently started? And I was like, the sound healing. So, and it's going really well? Like, yes. It's because he's helping you. It's like, that explains it. Tonton Jackie's on the other side, lining up all these opportunities, things like the mind, body, spirit in Brisbane, it's a big, big gig. People were telling me, like, you should go, and, maybe you can do some sound healing. It's like, how does that happen? Anyway, it was starting on the Friday. Thursday evening, I just got the impulse. I could feel Tonton Jackie around. I was like, just ring him up. I rang them up. Excuse me, my name's Olivier. I do sound healing. Do you want me on the mind, body, spirit? And the lady was quiet. And then the other line, she said, I couldn't believe this. One of our presenters has just had to cancel. She has to go to Sydney for family reasons. Can you do 10 o'clock Saturday and 10 o'clock on Sunday? I was like, yeah, sure I can. So stuff like that started happening. You know, yeah, just magical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a question from one of the people out there, Andrew Feasy. He hasn't, I can tell you by the question, he hasn't started watching the show. So I'll just put the question up. So, do you feel a connection to original Australian culture whenever you sound the didge? So it's part one. And can you share your original connection to the instrument, please? Well, you don't have to answer that because you already answered that one 15 minutes into the show. So anyway, so we'll save that one, but I just wanted to, instead of going through the whole network and seeing a response back to Andrew, I thought we'd just interrupt him.
Yeah, no, thank you. Thanks for bringing that up. Yeah, Andrew, great question. Thank you so much. And yeah, I feel such a privilege and honor to bring through this vibration of the Indigenous ancestors of Australia. You know, like it's the land of dream time. You know, like, we can't understand, you know, a fraction of what those incredible people who held the transmission. This is the thing I've learned: that Aboriginal people, Indigenous people of Australia, have held the original starseed transmission from our Pleiadian starseed parents for over 200,000 years. Now that's our linear time. I remember a dear friend of mine, Aboriginal elder, telling me the stories of Dreamtime. You know, because I said to him, you know, like scientists say it's 80,000 years that Indigenous people have been on the land. He said they have stories of the mountains of fire. You know, the volcanoes. Now the last volcano live in Australia, I think it's just behind you, Jeff. Like, no warning. It was about 30 million years ago. So
they're a bit out on their numbers, eh?
Well, that's it. You know, so in my understanding, that must mean that there is this continuous connection of spirit. You know, that the Indigenous elders have carried on. You know, and brought through and held. You know, despite everything that's happened since the Europeans arrived, they've held that transmission for us. You know, and just I feel so honored, and I honor them. You know, and that incredible mission. You know, you spoke about a mission. Like what a mission they have accepted. Hold that vibration for us. You know, and now we're realizing as we go through this post 2012 world where we're like, this is the flowering of consciousness. You know, this is the ascension time that we're going through. And it's so key that we have access to those first transmissions, you know, that the business have held for us. So thanks, Andrew, for your question. Yeah, like what a transmission, like what an energy to be able to, yeah.
You know, like when I've been in Australia, you've got the sunshine and the warmth, and you know, when you've got the didgeridoo going, and you know, it's just Australia, isn't it? And it's yeah. So yeah, so I miss that. You know, I miss it. You know, there's bits that you miss, but there's you know, there's bits that I love here. So it's the balance, isn't it? So yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
But,
No,
yeah,
as well, but prior to getting to Australia, was the power of the land. You know, in Europe we had civilization after civilization, layers and layers and layers of human interaction with the landscape. And I wouldn't say completely detached, of course not. You know, like people knew about the seasons and they paid tribute to their ancestors. But it's become very muted. Jeff, you just put up a picture there of all those stones. That's a place called Balnanez in Brittany, and it's one of the oldest Neolithic sites in Europe. And yet it's dwarfed. You know, when we look at the age of the rocks and the landscape and the power sites in Australia, you know, that have been held, like their power has been held through the Indigenous people, keeping that alive. You know, the songlines, Chapman's book, you know, the songlines, he describes it beautifully. And here we go, you know, Uluru. In 2016, I was back in Oz. It was the first time but I was able to take Megan back there. So again, going back in the story. So when I came back to the UK in 2014, it was to care for my mum, who was a terminal diagnosis, lung cancer, and I just knew I had to come back. And like this was like the end of my Australian chapter in that way. And I had an amazing year with mum, even though we'd been told she only had a few weeks. Once I got back, and I was living with them and looking after her, she did pretty well. She did 12 months. We went to France 4 times, went to Spain, had an amazing, just like final journey.
Fabulous.
Yeah, her last meal was lobster and champagne.
What a way to go!
Yeah. She's like, I'm done. Get my auntie over here, my sister. So lobster and champagne. All the family around her bed celebrating her and her amazing.
Yeah, and it is a celebration of somebody's life, isn't it?
That's
very
it,
important.
They taught me how to live and they taught me how to do it. Incredible.
Yeah.
My dad went 2 years later. I was holding him as he went.
Beautiful. Yeah, that's a beautiful gift.
Beautiful. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, as his son, just so precious. But in the meantime, so in 2014, I was back in the UK and I was doing sandbars at a friend's house. Annie Turner, bless you. Actually, she lives not far from you. You're in Poole.
Who's that?
Annie Turner.
You have to connect me afterwards.
Okay, I'll do that. And I was doing sandbars at her place, and after one of the sandbars, Megan came up and said, I do similar things to you. Like, do you want to have a jam sometime?
Was that your first meeting? Was it, the 2 of you?
That was
right.
it. Yeah.
On.
I said, look, it's an hour and a half drive. It's a long way for a jam, but let's organise a sandbar and play together, and let's just see. Never heard anything. So a month later, there's like 30 people crammed into Annie Turner's living room. It was a big old house, like living room, kitchen, like on the kitchen table, like crammed everywhere. We started playing. I was playing Crystal Ball, and then Megan started singing, and it was just, oh my word, I'm next to an angel. This is amazing. It was just like, hold it together. It's okay. You're meant to be here. It's all right. And it was an amazing experience, and we just knew we had to do this more. So we organised another sandbar at the same place, and very quickly stuff started happening. We got invited to Glastonbury Festival. We got invited to play at a retreat in Portugal, and all this stuff just opened up. And that was it. We were together very quickly, and just the universe was just, here you go, you two. And it's like the union of the masculine and feminine. It's just so powerful. And she has amazing voice and plays the harmonium, as you can see, and that carries the voice beautifully. And very quickly people were having experiences that were really profound, where we'd be playing. And Jeff, you were talking about that picture of us in the cave. So we organised
where is that? Is that in Cornwall?
Yeah. That's in Newquay. That's Ocean Flow Yoga. They have this amazing yoga studio that looks over Fistral Beach, which is a great surf beach. Yeah. So, Cornwall and Australia are very, very linked. The gold rush, it was all Cornish miners who went out. South Australia was pretty much set up by Cornish miners, it seemed.
Yeah.
Another Cornish festival. Yeah, that's it. So again, lots and lots of connections. So we organised to play in it's called Carnglaze Caverns. It's an slate mine. It's not far from Plymouth, and the Royal Navy stored all of their rum in World War II. They stored it underground.
Oh, very good. Were you high on spirits?
That's it. They knew if the rum got bombed, the Navy would stop working. So, it's an amazing cavern. It's got a wonderful energy. So we did a couple of 3 actually. We did 3 sandbars in there, and absolutely incredible. There was one lady, Joy. She came to us afterwards and just said, "Thank you so much for what you just brought through." She had this resolution with her mum. Her mum had passed away years before. She was, again, just really feeling that grief and missing her. And the whole time that we were playing, when Joy was looking at us on the stage, instead of seeing Megan, she was seeing her mum. And it was like everything that Megan was singing, her mum was singing into her heart. And she was just so grateful.
What a gift.
Yeah. She, I've got it right here. It's this beautiful snow quartz crystal that she gave us. She's got a lovely crystal shop in Perranporth in Cornwall. We went to see her. She was telling us the story. So I've got to give you a gift. She gave her this beautiful snow quartz, like, Geo, to say thanks. So, these experiences.
Must be time for another digi.
I think. Yeah, nobody talking about it. Might as well experience it. There you go.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, that's it. So this is a story to do.
That's lovely. I love it.
Yeah, it's a great little ditch because you can travel with it. So I took one around the world.
In your handbag.
Yeah. In 2010, I did a round the world trip in 35 days.
Flip.
And took the spider with me. It was fantastic. Actually, I'll speak a bit more about round the world in a minute. Okay, here we go.
Very good.
You
Love
took me back to when I used to live in Lennox, which is just on the edge of Byron. I used to do yoga with Dr. Didge. And when we did our yoga, he'd play the Didge and the crystal bowls with Shamana Tara. And it was just magic. It was just...
this is one of Dr. Didge's digits.
Oh, is it? Yeah. So, so I went on a whale trip with them. So, of course, with the digits and what have you. So magical times.
Yeah. Well, this is like the whales and the dolphins. They really respond. That's a picture of us just offshore from Portugal. We went out a few months ago, and I was playing Didge while we were waiting for anything to show up, and the dolphins started coming. Like they started coming real close. There were a couple of them sticking their heads up out of the water to look at us. Like, what's that? There's such a connection between Didges and
I love whales and dolphins. So connected with, That's another thing I miss. But anyway, we won't harp on.
So when I talk about going around the world, so 2013, I had this idea that I had to take this sound healing around the world, and actually, there's a conversation with you two that really cemented that. Remember, Jeff, you were telling me something about like when you have these gifts, when you're in service, the universe looks after you, and you've just got to go. You've just got to take those steps and let yourself be supported, and just trust and know it's all going to be good. And so, I just went, I've got to take the sound around the world, and like this silver energy, this silver thread came in. So it was 55 days. I went from Brisbane to Hong Kong, some friends who were there, Paris, London, then Chicago and San Francisco, up to the redwood forests. This really good friend of mine, Howard.
Oh, that must have been magic, the redwood forest.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Playing the redwood forest. My last night was in a grove. There were 6 giant redwoods around me.
Oh.
Sitting in the middle at night time, beautiful moon out. playing the bowls, playing the didge. I could feel the connection to Mount Shasta, which is a magical place. Yeah, and then home, home via LA back to Brisbane. Yeah, and the power of the didge is just like it's such an incredible connector. So if you're putting up pictures there, that's in Africa, in Uganda. Mackin and I were on a trip to go and see the gorillas. A few years ago, it was organised by a teacher that I was working with, Pete Sage. And as we were driving up from the airport and through these roads, these mud roads, up to the rainforest to see the gorillas, we just stopped for rest, and all these kids just appeared. And it was like, let's get the didge out. And you can see them, like, they're just so captivated by it. It was just so fun. They're all having a go. Well, except the shy ones, you know how it is. But, just seeing the joy in their faces, and like just feeling like just this connection, with these kids was so beautiful. It just opened my heart, really, really incredible. And, you also think about how, and that interaction, it just opens them up like this to what's in the world. This is a culture that's, it's very traditional. You'd see the piles of mud bricks on the side of the road. They build the mud bricks and then they put them in a structure. They have a fire inside, and that fires them. They've been doing that forever, and they're still doing it. It's such an amazing opportunity to connect, like ancient culture with like what's coming through now. But also, with the ancient culture of Australia, it's like they're all connected.
Yeah, it's all intertwined, eh?
That's it. That's it. Yeah. And then just to put that up. So if you'd like to apply for a free healing session with me, then please do. Anyone who's listening, if you send an email to love@soundbathhealing.com, then we can see if there's something we could bring through for you. It doesn't have to be that there's like this pressing physical thing or anything like that. It's just like if you feel a connection, a resonance as I'm playing, you feel like, oh, I'd like more of that in my life, then please do apply. Send me that email. Love@soundbath.
So how will you do it for people? Will you do it like on a Zoom call, or will you do distance healing? Or
that's it. Yeah. So on Zoom is fantastic. I think that's one of the benefits of this. The technology that we have now is that we're all connecting, all over the world, and it doesn't matter how far apart we are, there's no distance,
It's incredible, isn't it?
Yeah.
And, and all the dots, people are connecting different dots everywhere. It's like
that's it. That's it. Yeah, it does feel like there's this network of people of lighthouses.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and that's helping guide everyone else. We're all on this journey together. And we're here.
Okay. Andrew's asked. He's never seen your spiral didgeridoo before, and he just wants to know what timber was used to construct it.
I'm not sure. I believe they're made in Indonesia, in Bali. So it'd be it's quite a hard wood. I've seen them made from ebony. I had one made from ebony. That was beautiful. It'd be an Indonesian timber.
Sure, very good.
Yeah.
So I know you want to do retreats over in Portugal. Have you, excuse me, have you found a place yet to do it? Are you, where are you with putting that out now? Where?
Yeah. Thank you. So, it's in the dreaming. It's still in the dreaming. And what we're feeling is that, yes, we have places around here that we know would be magical to bring people to. And the great thing about Portugal is a good tourism infrastructure. So there's plenty of opportunities, whether it's an Airbnb or whether it's hotel rooms. We can bring people out. And one place I'd love to take people to, actually, there's it's called Font Santa. It's a holy well, holy spring. It's just up in the hills behind us. A place called Monchique. And the water comes out at about 24 degrees, so it's not super hot, but it's nice.
That's not bad.
Yeah. And there's these old bathing houses up until the 70s. I think people used to go there quite regularly. It's fallen down a little bit more now. but you can still get in. And I just found it so good for my skin and my hair, like just felt just really, really cleansing. And also the energy of it. So I feel the like Mother Mary energy very much there. And Marshik itself, the water there, they bottle it. It's pH 9. It's very, very alkalizing. Really, really good for you. I drink a lot.
Not like over here, eh?
That's it, you know. And you know about autos work with the water crystals, you know how important get the good water. So, you know, this place like that, the West Coast again, you know, it's magical there. Yeah. So we're still dreaming it. It feels like as the people come together, then we'll know, oh yeah, we need to go to that place, to this place. So Jeff, you showed up the map there. So the southwestern tip of Portugal, Cape St. Vincent, we're about 40 minutes just west of there. Yeah, I'll go.
Lovely.
Yeah.
So are you doing, where you are now, are you going out doing sound baths at any little places on the evening, or have you got the space to do it where you live?
We've been invited to. We did do one when we first came. A friend who's had a holistic studio. We did one there. It was awesome. Really, really powerful. We're just waiting for the final lifting of all the restrictions.
Yeah. Okay.
And there's a few people who said, "Would you come and play for us?" So
magic.
Yeah. You know when they can play Didge like over someone, and they can feel that vibration through the heart and through the body. Yeah, and it's just out of this world. It's awesome.
And it's like similar to the gong. I mean, I got a massive gong that I took all around Australia on doing sacred sites and with the elders and what have you, and ceremony. And you know, this gong's got its own. But I know when people, once you start, the sound just like clears everything out. It's like you know, you can't hold on to anything, can you? When the sound goes, you know, you just got to drop into it and let it wash through you. And, you know, sound is, you know, the greatest power. You know, I always say, like, you know, use your voice, use different instruments.
Absolutely. You know, the voice is such a gateway. Such a gateway. And it's wonderful you work with the voice, you know, Megan too. It's the way we share essentially our true essence, isn't it? You know, the essence of who we are. We can find out everything through the voice, and we can bring our power as well through the voice. You know? When you think of the great leaders, voice is what does it. You know, so yeah. And the voice is so powerful. And I think that's what's so amazing, that the combination of the Didge and voice. So yeah, Megan, you come along today and join us.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to hearing her, and you know, obviously see pictures of you two together. So you know, you're obviously on a fantastic journey, you two. So you know, that's magic, absolutely magic. You know, you're doing what you've come to do, and you're being of service, and you're just helping so many people. So and the fact that she's well.
That's it. Yeah, so she's got this wonderful combination, just like me. So I was born in Wales to a Breton mum. So she was born in Cornwall to a mum who had Welsh ancestry and father who was Scottish. So it's like that Celtic connection, you know, and the Celtic sites, the megalithic sites, Neolithic sites. They're like these points, you know, in the globe. Well, that's us in Cambodia. Good to see you, Colin. Thanks for joining. These, you know, our ancestors, they knew stuff. Excuse me. They knew where the power was, and they built structures that would amplify the power in those places. Jeff, I don't know if you can find it. There's a photo of me at Trethevi Coit, which is 3 standing stones with a capstone over the top. And playing Didge in these Neolithic places, wow. There's so much power there. Yeah, nice one. Thank you. And
no, sorry, go on.
Okay. I've been here.
Yeah, so all through, right from the Orkneys, like been so fortunate. I've been to the Orkneys, the Ring of Brodgar, the stones up there, like just incredible. Right down through Scotland, through Wales, Cornwall, and into Brittany. I've been to a lot of sites in those places. There've been a lot of crop circles as well, and they've been much more recent and really potent and fresh. But they're like these acupuncture points in the planet to keep the energy flowing. Very similar to the song lines we were talking about in Australia. And to go to these places and to bring the energy through. Annie Turner, I mentioned earlier, she was a good friend of Hamish Miller, who
yeah.
an amazing diviner. He divined the Michael and Mary lines across the UK, and travelled to New Zealand as well. And there's the Southern Serpent as well. And connected those stories that the Maori had held sacred for us to now receive. These lines of earth energy, they're so powerful, and they're powerful for us. I want to go into that energy. Remember, Annie was showing, she was dousing at Boscanoon, this amazing stone circle there in Cornwall. There's about 20 stones around the outside, quartz stones, and then one stone at 45 degrees in the centre. When she took me there, I couldn't walk in for 20 minutes. I had to stand outside and wait to be invited. For a moment where the resonance was together, was right, and then I could go into the stones. And as I was playing Didge in them, she was dousing the energy at the centre around the stone at 45 degrees. And it started off at just about a couple of feet wide. The more we played and the more that we were meditating in there, it ended up at like 5 or 6 meters wide. This is the power that we have. This is our divinity, the gift of our divinity. It's like we're not just organic units wandering around, randomly. We have this divinity in us, like to bring through. And the indigenous ancestors knew of this, and they knew that they had to go to those energy sites, bring their consciousness there, and keep them alive and keep them awake, so that the land would be fertile. So that the animals would come, so that the rains would come, so that the flowers and the plants would grow. Like this is a divine co-creation with them. So let's do it as well as we can. Let's bring our intention and our consciousness, our awareness to the difference that we do make. We're seeing a lot of darkness in the world at the moment. If we watch the media, there's a lot of darkness. Why does the dark seem so strong? It's because the light's so bright. If you shine a bright light, you get a strong shadow. There's so much light coming in there. And this is what we're tuning into. And that's who are consciously awakening. We're tuning into the light. We're bringing more and more through. And eventually the dark will just dissipate.
Yeah,
maybe
it's on its way out.
Yeah. Maybe it'll be sooner, I'd like to think that. But, you can't stop it.
No.
The light has won, as a family. So.
Oh, definitely. I know I was going to ask you, because you've just come back, you've both come back from Scotland visiting family. So, and I know you go over a few times a year. Do you do any sound baths when you come over anywhere on your trips?
Not in person. There's a couple of online communities that we play for. So if it happens to be that we're, if it's a full moon ceremony, it's full moon while we're in Scotland, then we'll play while we're there. Yeah. We haven't been to organising things there. Except by saying that, a good friend of mine, guy I grew up with, beautiful guy, Dave Farr, he lives in Nairn in northern Scotland, and he does historical reenactments. And he's also started a healing business because he was really interested in the healing stuff. And I tuned into Reiki One and his wife, beautiful wife Susie. And they've just like, oh my God, now we have to do this healing work. And it was amazing, like to see this transformation. Like they were both in the Air Force, and like he was a hard drinking like biker, and he's giving away all the booze and all of that stuff. And now he's doing healing work. Along with all the historical stuff that he does. So, he's invited us to go to Banff Castle. Banff is right in the north of Scotland in the Highlands.
Wow.
August. So it's not definite yet, but we're hoping to go up to Banff and to do a couple of days of presentations up there. It's August, so it is opening up. Really, it's if people can invite us. That's the best thing when people have a and they just say, hey, look, and whether that's online or in person, we'll be playing for a group in California soon. That's always that works really well for us. It's like there's a group, they're attuned to us, they resonate with us, and we can just come in and bring our transmission, and they're open to receive.
Magic. Right. Well, it's 11 o'clock, so are you going to bring your good lady in and you're going to do something together?
That's it. Yeah. I'll just talk amongst yourselves. I'll just go back.
All right.
Okay.
Have you been to Portugal, Jeff?
No.
No.
No. I've been up here. I've travelled all the way up to the Orkney Islands.
Yeah. No, I only got as far as Edinburgh. No.
Yeah, so when he was talking about all those standing stones, I thought, yeah, I've been there. I mean, that the one down in Cornwall, I was quite surprised Elaine Stan hadn't even heard of it. So
Have they not?
no, so I actually showed him.
There's so many sites everywhere. People say, have you been here or have you been there? I mean, there's just so much out there, isn't there?
Yeah, the Merry Maidens. But then, of course, when you come around up here to that awesome bloody Mintark Theatre, that's just awesome, isn't it? Mintark? That's the lady who carved out of the side of the hill there and created an outdoor stage, and they do all the big Shakespeare shows on this place. I mean, it was just
it's magical. You can be watching Shakespeare and there's dolphins swimming behind you.
Yeah.
Oh, hello, Megan. Welcome to Dreaming the New Dream, and it's lovely to have you on the show.
Nice to see you guys. Let's get this a little bit closer.
So what's the picture behind you? I'm trying to make out what it is.
So did you say anything about it? So I paint. I haven't done a lot recently, but I used to paint a lot about 15 years ago. And that one came through, and it felt like it was about the women in my family, so my mum, my sister, and me, and also I see my niece in there now. So yeah, that just sits behind me.
Yeah, no, it looks lovely.
Thank you.
Very nice.
That's inside I'm playing around. I'm playing the harmonium there. Megan's on the Didgeridoo. It's good to
mix it up.
Yeah.
Exactly right.
Yeah, cool.
So what you guys do for us now? Shush a moment. What are you going to do for us now? Oh, wow.
Well, you're going to have fun. That's a good way to see Portugal.
Oh, God. I don't think I'd fancy that.
Yeah.
It's discovering a new ley line that happens to be on the airwaves.
Yeah. It was a magical day. It was on the 7th of the 7th.
Oh.
And the reason I chose that date, that was my grandmother's birthday. So my dad's mum, she was born on the 7th of the 7th, 1917, and she had 7 brothers and 7 sisters.
Wow.
So, yeah, to honour her, I jumped out of a plane on that day. Yeah.
Rather you than me.
You're right. Okay. So we'll just bring through. Should we just do a quick little sound check? Is that a good idea?
Yeah, every platform's a bit different, whether it blows out.
Why are you doing that? Who's this random dude, mate?
Oh, so that's my Uncle Max. So he's the whole reason I came out to Oz.
You see the similarity.
He'll be 80 next year. Yeah. Oh, he's lived an amazing life. He hitchhiked to Finland when he was 20 or something, and started working over there. And yeah, beautiful guy. Just really inspired me, with his travels and his just trust life, and he goes for it. So yeah, that's the Max. Cool. Okay, little sound check.
Oh, I got gooses straight away going right down my spine when you. Woo. Right, off you go. Oh, that was magic. Oh, do you know, I could feel that all the time. Absolutely beautiful. What an act you are together. Awesome. Oh, no, really beautiful. So, can I ask you about your singing voice? Have you always been a singer or been able to sing? Is it from childhood?
I've always sung, yeah. And I've thought a lot about it in the last few years. You know, people have asked, what's happening? What's the language? Like, where's it coming from? So I've thought a lot about it so I can kind of explain it concisely because it was just something that came through. And I was remembering how when I was very, very young, there were a couple of things I remember really strongly. One was that my mum and I used to like talk in what we called like nonsense language.
Yeah,
yeah, and now I understand that as actually, I call it star language. And I'll tell you why in a moment, particularly that wording. But I always used to feel so settled, and like this sense of home, and like everything was okay when we were speaking that, when I was in that place with her. And also I remember when I was really, really young, going and squeezing in between my mum and my dad in their big bed, and I just sing really, really high, so no one else could really even hear me. It was almost inaudible, and I just remember having tears streaming down my face. And I feel like that was my early memories of that connection, always being there, bringing through this thing that always like made me feel like I was part of something greater. Like my body used to feel really big, my hands used to feel massive when I sang that way.
Magic. Because I know you do ladies' retreats, so perhaps you'd like to come on the show another time and talk about your lady retreats and the birthing and the singing and the voice.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, of course.
I think I've just been told, yeah.
Say again, sorry, Jeff?
I think I've just been told.
So what have you got lined up now? Now you're back in Portugal. What have you guys got lined up? Anything planned, or are you just enjoying each day at the moment and see what comes?
Yeah, we're in the process of we're going to be starting a group in a month or so. Kind of shifted our work. Our work's been shifting since we began, really. So we're just in the process of kind of feeling into what wants to come and in what format and how many people that might be for, and because things are getting more and more potent and more kind of laser sharp. Like we used to just play, and like it was very sort of, it felt kind of very generic in a way, didn't it? Like it was always the right thing that came through, but now it's like we're getting sharper and sharper, and it's like do the work, like do the work, sharply.
Do you want to share why you call it stoning?
Yeah. So, as I was saying, like I used to sing in these soundbar feelings, and it often sounded like Native American language. People would ask about that. I was like, I felt a bit silly because I just feel like, I don't know, it just comes through, it just happens. It's really natural. And then I just thought I could ask, I could write about this, because I'd done a bit of automatic writing before, and it was always very revealing for me. So I did that, and the message I got that has stuck and felt true all the way till now, so we'll see as it evolves, is this connection to a woman being who resides by the riverbanks, and she is by this clear, pure love energy, like the water flowing, who is bringing these messages and memories flowing through. And she brings through the essence of different star constellations, and then it's sung through me. So that's a bit of the story.
That's lovely, beautiful. Anything else you want to share before we round up the show?
What would you like to share? Check out if anyone watching is kind of intrigued and either wants to experience more or wants to find out more for themselves. Check out the website. It's still a work in progress, but you can
like
book. Yeah, exactly. But you can book in with us individually to have your own experience of this, or see how to have us come and play for your group, or just get a free download so that you can keep listening for a longer period of time.
Yeah, so that's soundbathhealing.com, and on the title page, birthing the new earth. We feel very much that's what's going on.
Oh, definitely.
Like there's a new earth being born. Like we're going through these contractions, like there's contractions going on. So keep breathing, keep dropping on that, and remember like what's being birthed, and within that, there's this fractal energy to it. The earth is being born anew because we are being born anew. We are the earth. We're an expression of it as much as it's an expression of us as a collective. So never underestimate the role that we play as individuals in bringing through this birthing, that as we heal our shadows, as we come to terms with and resolve and transform the things that we've been through, maybe that have blocked us or been challenging, as we transform those, we do it for everyone. This is not an individual experience that we're going through. It's a collective experience. We're all, when you look at like the quantum field, all of that, it just shows we're all connected. What happens to one of us happens to us all. So, when we all do what we can to raise our consciousness and be as loving as possible, just be as loving to ourselves, loving to those women, loving to the planet as we can, then the world has to change.
I have to say that I've taken a back seat with my sound at the moment, because obviously I've only been back a couple of years and it's been a huge adjustment period. Oh my God. Let alone the food flip. And tomorrow down here they forecast 1 degree and snow, so it's quite chilly today.
Snowing in Scotland yesterday, so I can imagine.
But no, I've just really felt I need to be out there doing my sound work again. So I've got so many instruments. I'm like a one lady band. But anyway, we'll see what happens.
Something that one of we're part of a group, a community. Sarah Landon, she channels the council. Beautiful, like check it out. It's really beautiful work. And there was something she was talking about. When someone was asking a question about their business, and she was saying, it's like making a buffet. You've got all these gifts and you want to share it with people. And then if no one comes, it's like, oh, well, and you throw it away. She was talking about this. And then it's like, feed yourself, like eat that buffet yourself. And it really, like something really landed in me, because so often we tend to think we've got to, like, yes, of course, share our gift. And that's a big part of it. But primarily it's like nourish ourselves with that, fill ourselves up with that, sing for ourselves, but like whatever your modality is. It's such a beautiful reminder, because it's like, if you're full and
because I was sat here yesterday and I sat here for about 5-10 minutes gonging with the intention for it to go out into the land and what have you. So right, well,
would you like just a couple more minutes just to finish up?
Oh, definitely.
Great. Okay, so thanks everyone who's been listening and sending messages, and everyone who checks out the replay. Get in touch, love@soundbathhealing.com if you'd like to apply for that free session. And if there's something that you would love us to do with, bring this through for a group, please, love to hear from people and spread the resonance. So thanks, Andrena. Thank you, Jeff. It's been enjoyable.
It's an absolute gift, and my passion is sound, so I'm right there with you. So
okay.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Absolute magic. Thank you very much.
Wonderful. Thanks, Andrena. Thanks, Jeff. And we'll see you again soon.
We'll just stay online as we finish, so we'll stay in the green room. Okay, folks, thank you for coming. Thank you for listening. And there's me out warning in the background. Oops, it is. That's a shipyard there. There you go. All right. Good evening and good morning to you guys.